Good evening from the capital of the Philippines, Manila. And folks, it's good to see you wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever. Before I get into today's topic, please like, subscribe, share, and bang the notification bell. Please pass out the video out to your family and friends. With that being said, with that being said, is coming to Manila, I had a few things I needed to take care of, business wise. Had a couple pieces of business here to take care of. And I want to yesterday and today. Yesterday I went to the Mall of Asia, and it got me thinking about malls. And today I went to Robinson Mall, towards a little bit towards Metro Manila. I don't know the area that well yet. I went with a friend, and as I walk around the mall and talk to people, and it got me thinking about malls in the United States. Look, I don't live in London or Europe. There's a structural and lifestyle comparison. Malls are thriving in Thailand and the Philippines. What is the difference between malls in Southeast Asia and the United States? So it really got me thinking because when a lot of times I reflect and I observe, and I'm really familiar with I'm a little bit familiar with Malaysia, but I'm going to focus on Thailand and the Philippines today. And I'm somewhat familiar with Malaysia, been there a few times. But let's talk about the structural and lifestyle comparison and the powers of malls in Asia. Now, a primary purpose for a mall in the United States is basically for transactional retail shopping and dining. Malls, when I was growing up, were more popular, but with the advent of Amazon and all these different delivery companies, you can get stuff delivered right to your door. You can retail basically from your house, from your computer. So the first thing in the United States, malls, some people say they're dying, and in some areas they are dying in the United States, particularly small towns, urban and small towns, more rural areas. Malls are expanding out, and some towns are so small they don't even have a mall. But the primary purpose for a mall in the United States is basically retail, shopping, and dining. Now, let's compare. In Southeast Asia, I'm going to focus on Thailand and the Philippines. Primary purpose for a mall is not only for shopping and dining, but they're civic centers, they're social hubs, they're community cooling shelters. And what do I mean by that last comment? As I walk around, uh, particularly Thailand and the Philippines, particularly Bangkok and Manila, malls are social centers. And there's a lot of poor people. So they use the malls a lot of the time for cooling shelters, for AC, for relief. Not only are people eating, there's in Thailand and the Philippines, there are food courts that are cheap. And these food courts, you can get cheap food. And the locals can afford to eat. Like in Thailand, in Terminal 21, for example, and um, other parts of the city, malls in Thailand are connected. They are connected to the BTS station, the train station, and the underground BTS system. Here in the Philippines, in Manila, they have a train here, but the transportation is a lot different. But a lot of the Filipinos do the same thing. They go to the food courts. They they socialize, they laugh, they joke, they get some AC and relief. where America is a straight business, dining and retail. So malls, that's why malls in Asia are thriving. That's why you'll see in a lot of malls in Southeast Asia, you'll see a lot of massive foot traffic. It's families get together. It's a primary destination. Now, in the United States, different parts, there's a lot of study decline because a lot of Americans shopping is seasonal. And usually when people go to the malls in the United States, they're targeted. Yeah, they may go out to eat, but they have specific types of shopping they want to do. And again, I just mentioned this 2 minutes ago. There is a connected directly. The malls are connected, particularly in Thailand. I don't know much. Particularly in Thailand, they're connected to major rail lines: BTS, SkyTrain, MRT. In the United States, for example, they're surrounded by there's parking lots that are there's a big parking centers designed parking lots for cars and trucks. Now, malls in Asia, from what I researched, let's talk about food and beverage. 30 to 40% of floor space in food halls in Southeast Asia, multi-floor restaurants and hypermarkets. There's just for that is 30 to 40% space for, like I said earlier, food courts, which you can get a lot of cheap food in both the Philippines and Thailand. You can go, like, for example, Terminal 21 in Thailand, from the fourth to the sixth floor in Bangkok. There are coffee shops, floors of restaurants, and at the very bottom of the mall, there is a food court. Or actually, I'm sorry, in Thailand at the top. I'm sorry, the sixth floor at the top. And at the bottom, though, in the one in Bangkok, there is a they still the ground floor. There is a you can still there's still restaurants there, and you can get food. And the one in Pattaya, the Terminal 21, they have a food. They have a nice food court also. When I went to the Mall of Asia yesterday, I was checking out the food hall. The food hall, it's just like Thailand. It's like a big court full of Filipino food and different restaurants, and you can get it for cheap. Cheap, you can pay not a lot of money. So 30 to 40% of the floor space for malls in Thailand and the Philippines are, once again, multi-floor restaurants, markets. In the United States, they do have traditional fast food courts, but that takes up only 10 to 15% of the floor space. Now, malls in Southeast Asia, civil services, government offices, chapels, medical clinics, particularly in the event halls. Uh, I've seen in a chapel, I believe, something similar to the Mall of Asia yesterday. Now, in America, it rarely includes civil infrastructures, purely mostly commercial. In some of these malls in Thailand and the Philippines, you'll have government offices, even some medical clinics and event halls. I was walking in the yesterday in the Mall of Asia. At the very top of the top, there was a soccer field. There was a soccer field, and it was unbelievable. It was beautiful. You know, so keep in mind in both Thailand and the Philippines, uh, you know, I mentioned this again. Free air conditioning and clean indoor spaces is a big deal because both Thailand and the Philippines are developing countries. Um, Now, some people when I was researching, they said the Philippines, the mall culture capital. Now, community infrastructure, Philippines developers like SM Prime Holdings and Ayala Mall explicitly designed properties to replace missing parks. Malls have effectively become, once again, like I've told you, public squares of Philippine cities. Urban planning documentation from according to Manila University. So When they build the mall, they also have when they design it, they have it in mind that they want people to socialize inside the mall. A lot of malls, and I noticed this one at Robinson Mall, they have a lot of religious and civic integration. In America, like I said, totally commercial. Most major Philippine malls basically feature fully operational Catholic chapels. And in some of these malls, one of the locals told me here, they hold weekly mass alongside satellite office for government agencies. As a couple of Filipinos, the locals, when I was talking to them, they do in some of the malls passport renewal and driver's license. The Philippines, basically, the country holds some of the hosts some of the largest malls in the world. Um, they also have the SM Mega Mall, which I didn't have a chance to go there, but I know in the Mall of Asia, I thought I saw an ice skating rink in there yesterday. So there's also there's also transport terminals. Now in Thailand, they have a lot of the same philosophies. Now you all talk about a mall culture in Bangkok and in I've seen in Pattaya and in even Karat. You have some of the most beautiful malls on earth. They're visual, they're spectacular to look at. The Terminal 21 in Pattaya is beautiful, in my opinion. The Central Focus Group in Thailand, they really put an emphasis on agriculture. Siam Paragon, for example, and then in Icon Siam in Bangkok, double as tourist destinations. They have indoor. Some of these malls in Thailand have indoor floating markets, massive art galleries, multi-story indoor waterfalls, transit orientation. Malls are physically built in Thailand into mass transit grid, elevated walkways, connected commuters, and like I talked about, there's several malls just connected to the BTS, MRT. Uh, there's shopping center entrances. You don't even have to like. There's places in Bangkok where you can walk on the platform and not even hit need to walk on the streets. Food hubs, particularly Thailand has a tons of Michelin star restaurants. Well, I don't know about tons, but they do have some Michelin star restaurants. I don't know how many, but they also have street food stalls. They have, as I said, cheap food halls where you can eat and survive. Now in America, malls were conceived pretty much in the mid 20th century as suburban shopping centers, basically built around the rise of the automobile. So as the car came into play, the suburb and the car. U.S. malls are basically typified by a central shopping corridor anchored by large department stores, completely ringed by massive surface parking lots. Now, they don't have most of malls in America, as far as I know. The ones I've been around, they're not connected to any public rail systems. Now, what we have going on in the United States and probably the Western world is a retail apocalypse shift. Over retailing and the rise of e-commerce, obviously what I talked about 5-10 minutes ago, like Amazon, is the power of Amazon has led to widespread department store closures. Instead of community growth, many American malls face redevelopment. A lot of the malls are turning into fulfillment centers or open air lifestyle centers. So some malls and the companies that built them, they're trying to pivot. For example, to many people believe that top tier to survive, top tier U.S. properties are now adopting Southeast Asian strategies. How interesting! The Mall of America, for example, survival now relies on introducing indoor theme parks, entertainment concepts, and experimental dining to draw crowds. So, I know why what made me come up with this topic. To be honest with you, to be honest, I just thought it was interesting, just walking around. being around Thailand, Southeast Asia, and the Philippines for the past several years. Malaysia, I know a little bit about, but Thailand, the Philippines, I'm more familiar with. So I just thought it was interesting to talk about, malls. You can leave a comment, tell me what you think, like, subscribe, share, bang that notification button, and tell me what you think about the power of malls in Asia and what you think's happening. Maybe there's someone from the UK talks about what's going on with their malls in their country or in Australia. Please let me know. It was just something I thought was interesting, so I just figured I just wanted to talk about. Like, subscribe, share, bang the notification bell. Have a great night, day, wherever you're at in the world. Take care.